So talking about projects, Marianne, staying with you for a minute, I know you're currently in the process of getting ready to move to the iManage cloud. Unlike, Chick-fil-A who's there,
Right.
how are you guys going to navigate that with people being displaced and working from home? How do you go about something like that?
Well, what happened early on, I believe this is our 8th week of out of the office. And right about the first week, the decision was made to pause the implementation process. We were all the way up to, we had completed the design phase the same day, the same email where I said, I approve this design phase. I had to also say, pause, because there was just too much going on. We just couldn't ask the attorneys at that point to try to learn something new. But as time has gone on and things have calmed down and for everyone, we are thinking about hitting the go button again. And it's not my decision. But the GC it's his decision and his staff, and there'll be discussions over the next couple of weeks. But I have a pretty good feeling that it can go forward. I mean, I think it can go forward. But again, there's other people that have to agree with that. We have some of our key attorneys now who are ready to go forward. So I watched last week one of these seminars on how to implement iManage remotely, and it was really one of the best things I watched. It gave me a lot of good ideas. There's things you have to consider when you go live remotely. First off, you've got people working from home who may have never worked from home before. We have a couple of those. Well, it's 2 months in now. I think they've all got the hang of it at this point. So their families have the hang of it at this point. Leave mom or dad alone, while they're working. So to do the trainings was an issue. We had originally scheduled 90-minute trainings, and I don't think we're going to do that. This is still in flux, but I think what was recommended last week and what was being tossed around is you do a 60-minute training with a small group. And for us, that means about 6 people. But I know Adaptive said you could go as high as 10, but we want smaller groups. So you do all these 60-minute trainings, you go live, and then a month or 2 out, you do another 30-minute wrap-up training, which for right now, that sounds good. And again, we have to work through all those details. I don't think that a 90-minute training right now is going to work for too many people. That's a long time at home to have to focus like that. When you do have the kids and the dogs and the doorbell, you can do 60, but I just feel like 90 is pushing it. So I like the idea of splitting it up.
Breaking it into some smaller chunks, making it a little bit more
smaller
palatable.
chunks. Right. Let's see.
I could say with Sherry had we had talked last week or two about this, where Chick-fil-A is in a little bit of a different boat, where they're on an earlier version of iManage 10, and we talked about moving to a later client. I think the general consensus we came to, Sherry, was we can do it, but we're going to do it a little more slowly.
That's right. Yeah, I had concerns too with everybody being remote, but when you peel it back and look at it, it was a remote push anyway. It's not like people were walking around to everyone's computers doing it. Our IT was pushing out the files anyway, and that's remote. But we are going to take it in smaller groups of people just to make sure we don't have any issues, and we, if something catastrophic happened, we don't take everybody down at one time.
Exactly. Impact will be lessened, and we could be safer. And then once you gain a comfort level of that process moving, you can always pick your cadence up a little bit as the time starts to go forward.
Right.
Sounds great. Lorraine, any other thoughts on that from your end of your perspective?
So as far as rolling out new software and things, I'm all for sprinting. We've been home for 8 weeks now, so like Marianne said, everyone in your household by now should be used to mom and dad's schedule. And I don't want to waste any time getting anything out because sometimes the project will get pushed back even further and folks will forget what you trained them
Right.
on in the
Right.
beginning. So I like to do those sprints where, okay, let's keep this moving. Let's not let being home and being away from the office stop our initial goal.
Yeah, there definitely feels to be from a business standpoint, from iManage and Adaptive, there seems to be a pent up demand where early on in the first 3-4 weeks, everybody was a little bit scared and panicked and projects were stopping. But we do feel the same as what you're telling us, which is people are getting back to that new normal and business has to go on. And we found out that we're still open and that we're still paying our people and we're still doing business. And I think in the industries that we serve, I think we're finding that we can continue to move forward, maybe at a slower cadence, but still get stuff done. I'm going to watch the time. I
Well,
wanted to ask one last, please, somebody go ahead.
no, someone said something about, I think it was Sherry, about the having someone there in the office, on to help going desk to desk. No matter when we implement now, if we implement now or if we implement after everyone's in the office, we probably won't be able to bring a trainer in. We're going to have to do it.
Correct.
So, so that's another reason to go ahead, and also you don't want to lose your momentum. You don't want
Right.
people to forget.
Distance learning is probably going to be a requirement, right? And finding new ways to
Right.
support those people with virtual war rooms and, having
Right.
not on the boots on the ground, but virtual boots on the ground to support that staff during that time.